Hello bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. It's about 9 p.m. on Friday night on March 10th and I'm about to start reading for a readathon called the Beat the Backlist Readathon. Beat the Backlist is a year-long reading challenge that's hosted by the blog Novel Nights. It's basically the only reading challenge I'm really participating in this year. I've always loved reading backlist books. I just don't have really good luck with new releases. I just tend to not like them a lot. I don't know if it's because a lot of them have hype or what. As part of the year-long challenge, they have 3 or 4 weekend readathons going on throughout the year, and this weekend is the very first one. The readathon started at like midnight this morning, but I haven't been feeling well today, and I also had to work, and so I haven't done any reading yet. When I got off of work, I actually napped for like 3 hours. But now I'm feeling a little bit better, and I am ready to get this reading started. So my goal for this readathon that takes place over 3 days is to try and read for a whole 24 hours, which is going to be kind of tough considering I haven't read anything at all today, but I'm hopeful that I can do it. As far as my TBR, I am in the middle of 2 books. The one book that I'm hoping to finish this weekend is The Exiled Queen by Cinda Chima. It's the second book in the first 7 Realms series. I'm a little over halfway through that, so I'm hopeful that I should be able to finish it. And then the second book that I'm currently in the middle of is A Gathering of Shadows by Victoria Schwab, which is the second book in the Shades of Magic series, and I'm also about halfway through that. So both of those books I am hopeful to finish. I mean, if I really do read for 24 hours over this weekend, I shouldn't have a problem finishing those 2. And then after I finish those, I would like to start A Conjuring of Light because I know that A Gathering of Shadow is going to end on a cliffhanger. It's my second time to read it. This is a reread. But the whole point of this readathon and this challenge is to read backlist books, and Conjuring of Light just came out like last week. So I think I'm going to have to try and wait until this weekend is over before I actually start that book. Okay, so I'm about to start reading The Exiled Queen, and I will check in with you guys later. Bye. Good morning. So it is Saturday morning at about 9:15. I just woke up a little while ago and I'm on my way to go pick up some breakfast for me and the hubs. I'm getting Chick-fil-A breakfast. If you guys haven't had Chick-fil-A breakfast, it's amazing. I know chicken for breakfast sounds really weird, but it's delicious. I just wanted to update you real quick on my reading from last night. So I read The Exiled Queen, and I read for 2.5 hours last night, and I read like 170 pages, which kind of surprised me because, I don't know, I thought I read faster than that, but according to my Goodreads updates, that's what I read, 170 pages. And it is so good, guys. I was getting all the feels. There was like a lot of romance stuff going on yesterday, and I was swooning and crying. I mean, not like bawling, but tears were leaking. So good. This book hasn't been very romance heavy until recently, just since I was reading yesterday. I love the forbidden romance trope. I don't know if I would ever get tired of that, and that's definitely going on. There is a love triangle, but it's, I think, really well done, and my heart goes out to both of these men, and the main character, Raisa, she's just amazing, and I just can't put it into words. It was really good. I have less than 100 pages left, which is why I kind of like stopped last night, because I knew that I wouldn't be able to stay awake to finish the whole thing because it was already 12:30. But after I go home with this breakfast, that's probably what I'm going to be doing, is reading the rest of this book, and I have pretty high hopes. I think it's going to be really good. But yeah, that's what I read last night, and I will check in with you after I do some more reading. Hey guys, so reading update. It is currently about 7:15. I read for about an hour and a half earlier today. I read The Exiled Queen and I finished it. It was so good. So many feelings about these characters. The second book is definitely a lot more character focused, and there's not a huge crazy plot thing going on, but I just love these characters and I love this world, and it was really good. I can't wait to read the next one. One thing that I really loved about it is the diversity. So there's a lot of cultural diversity in this world. There's all these different countries and they all have different customs and different skin colors, but there's also a lesbian character. Granted, it was someone who was like a side character, but as far as like sexuality, I felt like it was more on the diverse side. There was a guy who had to use crutches and like didn't have his legs or part of his legs or something. He was in a wheelchair some of the time. So that kind of stuff you don't really see in YA that often, especially considering how old this book is. I don't know when it was published, but back like in the 2000s, so it's an older book. So it really surprised me to see so much diversity in it when that's still something we're like struggling to see in new releases and stuff. And the second thing that I don't feel like I've talked enough about this series is that it has a pretty strong feminist vibe. One of the main characters, Grace, she's a princess, but she's so badass. She's like so smart and confident and knows what she wants and knows how to go after it. I just love everything about her characterization. Her kingdom that she comes from is actually a queendom, is what they call it, because it's a matriarchy and the power goes through the women. But that's just her country, not the other countries, so you kind of see some of the conflict in cultures between different parts of the world, which is just really great. I love all the political intrigue and stuff like that. There was this one part, I actually don't know if it was in this book or the first one, that has just really stuck with me, and I loved it. But basically, they were talking about the way the lineage is passed down is through the firstborn daughters. Raisa made some comment about how, like, in other countries, how can they have the royal line go through the men when a person is born, you don't know for sure who the dad is, versus when someone has a baby, obviously you know who the mom is, and so it's like a true lineage. There's no like way to get around it or trick it or anything like that. You just know who is whose mother because that's like a biological process. I just thought it was a really interesting point, and that's one thing that I really love about this series. It really shows some like feminist values. And then I also ran for 45 minutes and listened to an audiobook for that whole time and an additional 15 minutes. I listened to Uprooted. That was going to be my audiobook for this readathon. Listened to it for like 15 minutes and I could tell that I wasn't gonna like the narrator. She has a really heavy accent, which is probably like authentic for the character in the world, but I could tell that I was gonna get tired of it really fast. So after 15 minutes I decided that I just would rather read it physically because I do have it out from the library. And so I switched over to a different audiobook, and that is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. It's the second book in the Wheel of Time series. This isn't the first time that I've had it checked out. It's a really long book, so this is probably like the second or third time. So I listened to that for 45 minutes earlier, and then I just started listening to it again when I realized I wanted to give you guys an update. While I'm listening to that audiobook now, I am working on a puzzle. I haven't gotten very far on the puzzle yet. I just sorted through and found all of the edge pieces, but it's a Disney puzzle of Sleeping Beauty scenery, and it's painted by Thomas Kincaid. So this is what I'm going to be working on while I listen to this audiobook, at least for a little while longer. I'll show you guys what it looks like when I stop for the night. So yeah, that has been my reading progress so far, and I will check in with you later. Good morning, bookworms. It is now Sunday. I guess it's no longer morning, it just turned noon. And I wanted to update you on my reading from last night. So I continued to listen to the audiobook of The Great Hunt and work on my puzzle for 4 hours yesterday, which is really exciting. The Great Hunt is going well. I love being in this world with these characters. I've just known them for so long because I've read this series since I was like in high school, and I've reread most of the books in it except for the ones at the very end because it's a super long series. It's comforting, it feels like home. I'm just really enjoying it. It's kind of like Harry Potter. So I don't really have a whole lot to say about that. I mean, this book and series is just like super complex. There's really not a lot I could say without being spoilery or without just talking forever because there's just so much about it. But if you like high fantasy, especially really complex worlds and characters on the level of Game of Thrones or Brandon Sanderson books, that just tells you how complex they are. So I just did all the math for how long I've been reading, and I've been reading for 9 hours since Friday. So my goal of trying to read 24 hours in this weekend is not gonna happen. There's no way I could read that much today. I think that goal was just way too high. I was just thinking that 24 hours is a third of 72, and trying to read for a third of my time sounded like a really good idea. of, but I wasn't thinking about sleep. I also didn't realize we lost an hour of time last night, so it's like one less hour. I think maybe a 16-hour reading goal would have been more reasonable, because that's like what, as if I would have read 8 hours for 2 days, which is like Saturday and Sunday, which I think is doable, especially considering I've now read 9 hours. I only have 7 left that I would have to read today, and I think I can do that, although that's going to be kind of tight, because that means I have to read from basically like now until 7 without doing anything else, and obviously I'll have to do other things at some point, like feed myself. But let me show you my puzzle progress. So I've got all of the outside done, which was the first thing that I did, and then I did the princess dress, I did the sky over there in the top right. I've got some flowers and trees and fairy dresses. So I usually try to pick out solid things that I can work on. And yesterday I got a little ambitious and thought I would do like all the green, but I'm a little overwhelmed by all of these pieces that are in my puzzle right now. So I'm gonna go through and sort through them again and try and cut down on like what is actually in front of me, because it's just too many pieces. I can't really focus. But yeah, the puzzle is going well. It's fun. I love doing puzzles, and I'm going to keep listening to The Great Hunt today while I work on this puzzle. So I will check in with you guys later today. Okay, so I have been listening to my audiobook and puzzling for about 2.5 hours, and according to my calculations, I have listened or read 92 pages. When it comes to my audiobook, it's definitely a rough estimate, because I'm correlating where I am in the book with where I am in the ebook, which doesn't have page numbers, so it's like percentages of the book. So about 92 pages so far, and I've made a lot of progress on my puzzle. I just have a few more like spots to fill in, and I've basically gotten to the point where I'm just like going through piece by piece to see if I can figure out where it goes. But after about 2.5 hours, I am definitely ready for a break. Right now I'm at 11.5. That's 4.5 hours left that I have to read, which is totally doable. I can definitely do that, especially when I'm like listening to an audiobook, so that I can do other things at the same time. So I will check in with you later. Hey guys, so I just got back from the pool. I am wearing a bathing suit down here. I'm wearing clothes, I promise. And I'm like such a sweaty mess. I was down by the pool for an hour listening to The Great Hunt on audio, which according to my ebook is 43 pages. Hello bookworms. Okay, so it is now 6 p.m. on Sunday. So I still have like 6 hours of the readathon left, but I won't need them because I just got done reading for another hour while I was doing my nails, and I got another 43 pages of The Great Hunt read. Now I'm going to get back to this puzzle and try to finish it. I have 2.5 hours left to read before I reach my 16-hour for the weekend goal. I will show you the finished product of the puzzle when I'm done with it. Bye! So it's been 45 minutes since my last check-in, and I've completed my puzzle, which is really exciting. So in that 45 minutes, I listened to 28 pages of The Great Hunt. Just some quick thoughts on The Great Hunt so far. This is just such a great series to reread. There was a character that was introduced in this book that the very first time you read it, she's like super mysterious. You don't understand why she says any of the things that she says and why she like acts so weird. And now when I'm rereading it, I know who she is, I know what her motivations are, and like everything just makes sense. One of those series that's very rewarding to reread because you just understand so much more about the world and the characters. You know who everybody is. It's just so much fun. Okay, so those are all my thoughts on The Great Hunt so far. I'll check in with you guys when I've read some more. Good morning, bookworms. So it is actually Monday morning at about 9 a.m. and I'm on my way to work. I didn't end up checking in with you guys last night and wrapping up this vlog because I procrastinated on the like hour and 45 minutes I had of reading left. I ended up finishing right at midnight, and by then I was just so tired of vlogging, tired of reading that I just went to sleep. But I did it. I read 16 hours over the course of the weekend, starting starting on Friday, and I'm really proud of myself. That was actually really hard. I don't know why I thought 24 hours would be doable. It also just made me realize that I couldn't read 8 hours a day. Like, I could not make reading just reading my full-time job, because it is really hard to read for a full 8 hours every day. So that last hour and 45 minutes, I was reading A Gathering of Shadows. I read 90 pages. It's getting really good. I was about halfway through it-ish, a little more than halfway, and now I'm like 75% in, and things are getting really exciting. I don't have a whole lot to say because it's the second book in a series, and it's just really good. I love the world, I love the writing, I love the characters, you know, same old shit. If you haven't checked out the Shades of Magic series and you like fantasy, you should check it out because it's pretty good. Well, I hope you guys really enjoyed watching my Beat the Backlist readathon progress. I definitely enjoyed sharing it with you. I got a lot of reading done. It ended up being a lot of audiobook time with The Great Hunt, which was actually pretty awesome because I love that world and series, and it's so like comforting. I got a whole puzzle done, which is awesome. So yeah, I had a pretty awesome weekend despite the daylight savings time, which is kind of killing me this morning. That's all I have for now, so thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye.